Not your average tabletop. Woohoo!
Welcome back to Not Your Average Tabletop. I'm Zach, and today I'm going to be unboxing the big game, Ark Nova. So, Ark Nova is one that at first glance, I think I first saw this cover on the Dice Tower, one of their, I think, board game breakfasts or something. And I thought it was an interesting cover. I was a little suspicious as to what the game really was about, or if it'd be one that I would really be drawn to or not. But I did see also that it was a Capstone Games game, and a lot of their products recently have really caught my eye. So it was weird that this one, based on the cover, didn't quite catch my eye as much. But kind of as it's come out here, it's been a pretty big hit with Tom Vasel even having it be like his top game of all time, which is pretty crazy that it went up that quickly. But I believe it's a game kind of about managing your zoo in various different ways in order to score points. And I've heard some people compare some of the things inside it to, I think, a little bit of maybe some Terraforming Mars and some Rajas of the Ganges. So those are both games that I really, really love. I think they're probably games that are in my top 50 of all time personally, so I'm really hoping to absolutely love this one. And even with so this box, there's a few things. The cover, I'm still not 100% sure about. I don't think it's an awful cover. I do like the greens and blues. It's just interesting. I don't know that it's my favorite color, or cover, but I don't know that it's my least favorite either. So it's kind of just a mix there. And another thing I did not know before ordering it and getting it was that the box size was actually a larger, weird rectangle shape. And I can't remember if Capstone Games kind of all have a weird shape like this, or if it's just this one in particular. But I figured I would see kind of what was inside to see if maybe the box needed to be this way. But let's get in there. So, looks like right off the bat we're getting into some wooden cube pieces. I don't believe there's any meeples or anything in this game. I haven't actually looked too much as to how it's played, but just from the sounds of it, it sounds like one that I will like, for the way people have talked about it and kind of similar experiences that they've compared it to. These are just pretty solid cubes, and it looks like you have those in all yellow, blue, black, and the red as well. So you've kind of got some nice solid cubes there. With how popular of a game this is, I'm sure people have probably made a bunch of upgrade things for everything in this game already, because I think it's already at this point in May of 2022 already ranked 14 on BoardGameGeek, which is just insane. How quickly this one shot up. Yeah, there's a little people that you've got, I think, or maybe it's just a statue. I've always imagined this was like a person's head. I guess I'm not entirely sure on that, but you got those in all the different colors as well. So there's some nice solid wooden pieces, but I wouldn't say they're anything overly inspiring, but I also am not 100% sure on how they're used, so maybe they're perfect for their intended use. And it looks like we've got a lot of baggies, so that can be a good sign or a bad sign, I suppose. Then we've got the rule book. So it looks like it's about a 20-page rule book. So hopefully, looks like quite a bit of writing, but it does look like there's good. Looks like there's a good explanation of setup there, if that's what that is. And hopefully, it looks like there's some pictures in here. So hopefully that'll be good for examples on how things actually work. So, and I believe this one has a solo mode. I don't know if it's just a one-page here solo guide or how much different it is. But it looks like there's a decent amount of reading I'm going to have to do for this one. So I look forward to that. And then it looks like we've also got a glossary. So it's another with 8 pages worth of items there. That's just a lot of writing, but hopefully that'll kind of explain any questions as they come up throughout the game. It's always good if they have that, if it actually is useful. And then it looks like we've got all the symbology. Well, maybe not all. It looks like we've got a lot of symbology on this sheet, the icon overview. So hopefully that'll make all of those things very clear. I do like when they have these, especially when if you are using this many icons or symbols. It's very nice to point out what they all do, because I feel like some will just put kind of that in the rule book somewhere, and sometimes it's just hard to keep going back and forth between that. But when you've got just a sheet totally dedicated to that, that is a top thing that I like in games. So it looks like we've got a cardboard board here. So I don't remember entirely what this one, what this holds or whatnot, but it looks like it's pretty clean. Like I said, I can't remember exactly, but it looks like it's kind of separated pretty nicely. And it looks like maybe cards go above and below here, and it looks like they're spaced out pretty nicely as well. So yeah, I like what they did here. Everything, all the symbols are pretty big, I believe. I think you're going to be able to see most of this stuff from across the table. But yeah. Then, okay, so now looks like these are probably the reason why the box needs to be that large, or rectangle shape. I believe these are the player boards of your different zoos. And it looks like, so they're kind of a plasticky cardboard feel for the mats. It looks like there's quite a few, I don't know, maybe 8 to 10 of these sheets. But it looks like they've got some good symbology on there, so, or icons, whatever you want to call them. And then you got your cards go on the bottom there. So yeah, I like the artwork they used on this. It has that, it does have a somewhat of a zoo feel. I don't know that it totally is a ton. It's kind of, the artwork is better than, but it kind of makes me think a little bit of Terraforming Mars, where it's not like totally special or like outstanding, but I definitely like this more than the look of the stuff on, some of the stuff on Terraforming Mars is a little more blah than this even, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see, because I believe you're kind of building it out on this, so I don't know that this needs to be kind of like in Terraforming Mars, where it's still a game I really love. I don't know that it has to be the most beautiful, since you're kind of building out on top of things. Then it looks like we've got some punch outs here of, yeah, it looks like they're pretty thick, all the pieces here. I don't know if these are points or what that tracks exactly, but then you got the various pieces that you're going to end up putting in your park. I do like the artwork on these. Looks like it's actually this way. So yeah, it looks nice. I like how all the shapes kind of have some slightly different artwork on them. It's always nice when you kind of change it up a little bit, so they're not, even if they're different shapes, sometimes it seems like you use or the same artwork will be used sometimes, and just lesser, like if it's hexagons like this, sometimes they'd have this, even though this would be a different shape, they might have the similar artwork, but I do like that it's slightly different. And it looks like we've got some more additional pieces here. And I like the colors they used here. They've got kind of a, almost more than a neutral Easter pastel-y color. It's a little neutralized version of that. But no, I like that quite a bit. Looks like we've got kind of another sheet of almost that same exact stuff. And another sheet of it. And another sheet of it. And this one looks a little bit different. We got one, looks like the last sheet of cardboard here. These ones just have some colors on them. Okay, so the backs are kind of that. I wonder if the backs of these ones, yeah, all the backs look to be, kind of have a similar look to them, which I don't mind that as much. when you're kind of putting them together, then the backs look similar. But yeah, these tiles all look good. I can't remember exactly what these are used for. But yeah, that looks good. Then we've got, oh boy, 3 decks of cards here. I know in this one there are a lot of cards, and I can't remember if, if that's kind of the reason why it's compared to Terraforming Mars. I think that's a big reason. But I can't remember if the card play is similar as well, kind of with some of the symbology on the cards themselves, where in Terraforming Mars you're kind of sometimes looking for those symbols depending on what you're trying to do. So here's a stack of some of these. Okay, this looks like I opened up kind of the reptile pack maybe, or the lizard snake type. Oh boy. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what I think of using actual art of these. I'm trying to think, because okay, so Wingspan, I really like the artwork on those. I think this actually works for this game, and I'm really liking a look at the layout of these cards. It does give me, I like the layout of the Terraforming Mars cards, but it does look like the symbology is kind of laid out really well, and looks very similar from card to card, which is really nice when it's just a clean look that you kind of use for all your cards. I think I actually do like the artwork in these ones. I wasn't sure how I would feel about it, and I'm sure as I actually get this one to the table, then is when I'll really get to know if I prefer it that way or if I would have wanted some art version of it. But yeah, I know a lot of games. Seems like a lot of games that kind of go for, or have gone recently, for an animal or nature theme, and not many of them use actual pictures of animals or whatever they're trying to represent. They're more typically like a cartoony look to them. So maybe that, this change to these actual pictures of these animals is actually maybe a nice fresh change that kind of sets it apart from some of those other games. But yeah, considering they have all these different animal types, I'm kind of a little disappointed. Obviously once I get it played and whatnot, I'll have a better feel of if animal meeples would make sense in this game, or if having some sort of animal figurines would actually make sense or not. I'd be interested to see if they would have, because with all this different artwork, all these different animals, it seems like it'd be cool to have that. Yeah, we got even more cards here. Got a lot of different colors that they use, and there is a decent amount of writing on some of these cards, so I'm hoping that's not too overwhelming. I'm hoping as we play it and get more used to it, a lot of it will just be quick, simple, and it'll make a lot of sense. But no, I think I do like that they did use some real pictures of these animals. Yeah, I think those cards are getting me the most excited so far. Like I said, I do like that these are different, and I like the look of them, but I still wouldn't say like those are the most exciting looks to things that I've seen. Okay, and this board is also quite large, even though it is folded. Actually folded 3 times, so this is a long, oh boy. When I saw it on the back of the box, I thought this might be the reason that the box had to be so large, but I actually thought it was like a 1 fold, and actually this is actually, I have a pretty large table, I feel like, compared based on the fact that some of my largest games barely fit on it. But this actually takes up a pretty large section. You need a pretty big table for this one. It's not going to fit on every single table, and I'm actually surprised. Now that I think about it, I feel like I watched Playthrough and I don't remember this being that long, and maybe it's just not actually, sometimes I feel like when you see things, you maybe don't take it into actually think about how large it is. But yeah, it looks well laid out. And I think this is, it looks like the outside track here. You've got some different numbers and things. I think that's kind of where the Raja's part comes into it, which is a thing I really like. So I hope it feels somewhat similar to that, because that was probably one of my favorite parts of Raja's as a Gamgees, was how the scoring worked. But otherwise, yeah, it looks like all the symbols and stuff on this are pretty clear as well. So yeah, hopefully that'll all work really well. But yeah, and then it's got a back as well. Looks like it's very similar, but I'm not sure if it's for different player counts or slightly different modes of play, or maybe it's the exact same. Yeah, that is a pretty large board there, game board. And then it looks like we've got some storage here. And I assume these are for the various tiles, which makes me wonder why there were this huge stack of bags. Not really sure why you'd need both the bags and these storage solutions. But yeah, this is probably another reason why the box is so big. But hopefully everything will be stored in here pretty well. And it seemed like that top came off pretty easy. So hopefully, you know, I would think it could go at the bottom and then should hold it all together. But hopefully it doesn't come apart too easily in the box, especially if you do sort the tiles. Because I could see that being a little bit of a pain. But overall, this gets me really, really excited to get this one to the table. It's one I've been kind of dying to play as more and more people talk about and really tend to love this. I know there's some that seem to not, don't love it quite as much that have played it, but just from the sounds of it and kind of some of the reviewers I look at, like Tom and a few others, have really liked the game, and I typically tend to like the ones they recommend, so hopefully this one will be no different than that. But yeah, I'm hoping to play this one. I'm really excited about playing this one. I might even have to play it solo if it's needed. And I don't typically play a game solo. But yeah, that is everything inside of Ark Nova. I'd say, like I said, I wouldn't say it's the most inspiring artwork in my opinion, but everything seems laid out really well on any of the boards and all of that. And I do like the look of the cards and how they are laid out. So yeah, if you like what you saw, definitely give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more unboxings or possibly maybe my first impressions of Ark Nova when we get it played, definitely subscribe and hit the notification so you'll see when that comes out. Otherwise, I hope to see you on the next one. And as always, don't forget to keep on nibbling on our content.